They know that if they get us to come together, baby, it's gonna be some trouble. I feel like that's why we all got that weird.
2025 was us saying enough. We're delineating. You can't control the narrative. You can't control our story. You can't tell us who we are. And in 2026, we are now writing our story. We have taken the power. We possess the power. And now we're using the power in 2026. People can't tell us who we are anymore. We are saying who we are, and that is why they are so upset. That is why they are so frustrated. But understand, this was meant to happen. And with that, the cycle of delineation is complete. Delineation has happened, right? We are now in the cycle of telling our own story. And when you add that with our cultural influence, our culture is no longer going to be exploited because we are now in possession of it. We control our culture. We control our identity.
Don't call me a prophet because I don't claim to be one. But I said that back in February. I said that back in fucking February. And look at where we are now.
White man is gonna keep you where he got you. You're not going no higher than he wants you to go. And we ain't gonna settle for nothing but all the way. And about this violence and non-violence, I'm for violence. Because we have pleaded for the last 400 years.
Enough is enough. That's the main message that black Americans are now sending to white people, and they are not afraid. Now, some people are saying it's time to take back their culture, to take back their influence, to take back their energy, and to take back whatever they believe it belongs to them. I mean, they say 2026 could be the year everything changes for better within black community in favor of black people. But what exactly are they trying to prepare for? Why do they believe so many people are becoming so uncomfortable with this movement? In this video, we will hear their arguments, we will hear their reactions, and then we'll discuss whether this is really the beginning of something much bigger, something much better to black Americans. So stay with me because this conversation only gets more intense from now on. Let's dive into this, and at the end, I'll come for more commentaries. If this is your first time, please subscribe for more of this.
Because we are now in possession of it. We control our culture. We control our identity.
Don't call me a prophet because I don't claim to be one. But I said that back in February. I said that back in fucking February. And look at where we are now. Look at every single one of these groups that attack black Americans. Look at where we're at with the Asians right now, being upset that we're taking back our energy. We're taking back our dollar. We're taking back our resources in investing them into the black community, investing them into ourselves. Delineation happened, but this is delineation in full effect. And this is the response that we are receiving for reclaiming what is ours, what we've been giving away, what we have been giving away for so long. We've been giving it away for so long that they expected us to keep giving and giving and giving and giving. And when we finally said no, this is the response we get from everyone. It's not just the Asians, it's everyone. Because we hold the most influential culture in this fucking world. We hold the black dollar, and everybody wants a piece.
You know, I was talking to my mom. My mom was born in 1946 in Pahokee, Florida. In 1977, she moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida with her husband, who was driving trucks at the time. They purchased their first home. And later on, a few years later, my dad left my mom. My mom was cleaning houses at first. And then she got a job at this place called Ann Stork Center working with disabled kids. And while she was doing that, she was going to college. So she went to college. She ended up getting a degree, a bachelor's degree in forgotten something. And she started working for the state. And she had a really decent job and she was consistent. Like she went to work like clockwork, had great credit. Anytime she went to the car dealership, they would give her any car she wanted. She just had to sign her name most times and drive off. Like they didn't even ask her for no money down. But one thing that I asked her, I was like, Mom, why you didn't ever move us out of our neighborhood? Like she owned her home, but our neighborhood had turned into the hood. The one thing that she said was she didn't know that she can buy a house. She didn't know that she had the credentials and the qualifications and the credit to buy a house because she was never educated in that aspect. And I know it's a lot of people out there that's like my mama. Go to work every day, pay their bills on time, and look at home ownership like, I can't afford this. Not knowing that you can. She used to ride by my dad, like my mom got with another lady, and then she used to take me to my dad's house, and it was a house sitting on the corner, and she say, "Oh, I would love to have that house." Not knowing that she probably could have bought that house because she had everything that was required. She had money in the bank. She had a good job. She had great credit. She could have bought that house, but she didn't even know that she could buy a home. Like, a lot of people don't even know that they can. You looking at the prices, but you need to find people who know things that you don't know to help you accomplish dreams that you think are so far out of your reach. I can help you do that.
That's because they don't bother to actually look up nothing or research nothing. Hyundai was doing the same exact shit over here that they be doing over there in their country, running goddamn sweatshops and exploiting child labor. Okay? I mean, and this came out in 2022, so you can't blame Trump for that. Okay? Like, they were exploiting undocumented children, and they were exploiting undocumented adults, holding their illegal status over their head to have them working in unsafe conditions and environments. Let me put the article right here. Right here. All they had to do was look the shit up. Just like you said, all they had to do was look it up. 53 injuries reported over 16 months at Hyundai site. Former workers say many more go unreported. They even had a man die. It talks about concerns of exploitation of undocumented immigrant workers. And these two whistleblowers from the immigrant community worked there between July 2023 and November 2023 and said and got hella recordings, all kinds of information, all kinds of video footage and everything of what was going on there. The workers said that undocumented immigrants were employed at the plant and exploited due to legal status. So they were holding their immigration status over their head. They can't tell. They have to work whatever hours these people want them to work, and they're subjected to all kinds of bullshit. And this is the one for 2022 where it was published. Whole whistleblowing of telling them this. And then this was the whistleblowing in 2022 about the children, that they were exploiting undocumented children at the plant in Alabama. 14-year-old Guatemalan girl worked this May assembling auto body components, according to interviews with her father and law enforcement officials. But they believe that Hyundai was going to create 8,000 plus jobs for Georgian people. How? They didn't create no jobs thus far. They instead decided to exploit undocumented people, undocumented adults, and undocumented children. So how were they creating jobs for Americans? How? So yeah, these people want to go with sensational stories because everything that they feel is like, oh, if Trump had something to do with it, it's bad. Okay. Whereas me, I don't give a fuck about political people or whoever's involved. I go by the straight up facts of what happened and what didn't happen. And as far as the thing about manufacturing, et cetera, from this particular video that I made, where I was saying, a lot of these people don't understand American history. They talk about how, if they deport us, who's going to build your houses? Oh, if they deport us, who's going to do the manufacturing? The same motherfucking people who were doing it before. Black Americans. If you would have known and bothered to like look up American history, you'd have known that. Who was doing all of this stuff before y'all got here? Not one of them had the good common sense to say who was doing this work before we got here. Because America has always been a powerhouse of manufacturing and innovation. So who was doing it before? Black people. Black American people. It's not our fault that they believed them when they came over here and they was telling them, oh, black people are lazy. No, black people are not lazy. Black people have been displaced, okay, from industries that we literally cornered the market on because they didn't want to pay us no money. They didn't want us to progress as a whole and as a people. That's it. That's it. When they understand to the degree that America will go Okay? And it's beef with black Americans to hold black Americans down, to hinder black Americans. When they understand that shit and they start going through the actual history and stuff, then they'll be like, oh, okay. Right? Like, America don't actually need us to do shit. America don't need them to do a goddamn thing. And when people even consider, how did America become the number one country in the world? They had black Americans. That's the truth. They had black Americans. But people not ready for that fact yet. They ain't ready for that. Black Americans have been the driving force in this country. And it's going to get to a place now, why America can do what they're doing right now and don't care about doing it is because they have black Americans. Okay, and they're learning a lesson, and black Americans are letting them learn the lesson that, y'all thought y'all was going to circumvent us to hold us down and hold us back, and now y'all have to go right back to where the fuck we were after wasting 70 years of our goddamn time. Y'all got to go right back to the motherfucking source. My
name is Reginald Dobbs. I live at 3319 Maple, one of the ghettos areas that was pointed out in the film. I'd like to direct a question to Reverend Mitchell. Do you think that we will be satisfied with the jobs they are giving us?
Yes, son, I think so. Simply because we are asking that you be trained on the job, and they start you off with a certain salary starting rates, and you would be promoted up to the maximum of the job.
No, I don't believe that. The white man is gonna keep you where he got you. You're not going no higher than he wants you to go. And we ain't gonna settle for nothing but all the way. And about this violence and non-violence, I'm for violence. Because we have pleaded for the last 400 years.
What would you say to a boy like that? Because this happens to be, coincidentally, the young man in the group that Mr. Meek said you did not speak for. How would you talk to a young boy like that?
Well, I would say I would definitely have to use the Bible, Mr. Duncan.
No, I don't want to hear that.
Well, this is my own way.
I ain't no Uncle Tom.
Well,
See,
salvation
you
is
can't
free,
brainwash me.
Jesus said, first ye seek the kingdom of heaven and its righteousness, and all of these things will be added.
Heaven is on earth, mind you, brother.
Yeah. Let me see.
You have anything more? How about the other lab?
Where you gonna go when we start revolution? Whose side are you gonna be on? Are you still gonna be on your knees begging for us jobs?
White peoples realized today that they was wrong for enslaving the Negro. The great mass. May I finish? I waited. Why, if you so militant and so intelligent, why don't you keep your mouth shut?
I'll tell you why, Reverend Mitchell, because I'm sick and tired of you standing up there on a television camera, a black man with a white heart and a white face. You're a black Anglo-Saxon. You're a disgrace to the race to stand up about a white man loving you. Ask Medgar Evers' wife. Ask the parents of the 3 civil rights workers in Mississippi. Ask Jimmy Lee Jackson's mother. Understand? Ask Grace Louise of 5 children who was shot in the head because he's riding with a black boy in the car. You stand there and talk like an unmitigated fool.
So I don't know if you black women heard or not, but you black women, being who you are, you saved millions of black women, hundreds, thousands, who knows? But on Epstein Island, he didn't want any black women there because he said you black women were too outspoken. You were not easily manipulated. You would tell. You would do the right thing. And you would fight back too. Probably to the death on that island. So because you being who you are, you saved so many lives, sister. And not just on that island. Because he just said it out loud. But that same black woman that all them white women were afraid of, and I used to always complain talking about the loud black woman, because that's who they wanted to be. That energy saved thousands and millions of my sisters' lives.
They know that if they get us to come together, baby, it's gonna be some trouble. I feel like that's why we all got that weird, not saying we all got that weird person, we all kind of got a weird thing with each other, like how we be so against each other, how we be in competition, how some of us be like, oh, I ain't buying black, I be trying to support black business, I just can't, and knowing it's so many that you could try another one. It's something, and I feel like it's because if we actually came together, it's over with, y'all. It's over with. Everything gonna multiply. If we could just get on one accord and just come together. And that's why they taught us, and that's why it's been put in us and instilled in us to be against each other. Because we can't come together. So if we come together, everything will come clashing down. Everything, baby. What? This person, they teamed up together. What they doing? Trades? We gonna be doing trades. Ain't gonna be no money gonna be circulated right through us. It's just gonna be touching our hands. They can't have that because we talented in everything that we do.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters. Now, let's talk about this. You see, in life, there are moments where, people will simply say enough is enough. Like, enough of being divided, enough of being, oppressed, enough of believing that your voice does not matter, enough of allowing other people to define your identity, to define your future, to define your needs, to define what you want to be, to define how much you are worthy, like your value. So that is exactly the message that many Black Americans in this video are trying to send. Now, whether you agree with every word or you don't really agree, I respect your view, of course, but I think there's one thing which is clear in this video. And here's the thing. I think there is a growing belief that the time has come to build from within, Black community to build itself from within instead of waiting for permission from outside. So that's the message Black people are trying to share. So let's try to break down, the strongest, the biggest messages I heard from this discussion. You may also share what you also learned from this video. Now, number one is that reclaiming identity. You see, this is like one of the strongest arguments throughout this video. And this argument is that Black Americans should define themselves instead of allowing society, allowing, white people, allowing politics or stereotypes to define them. I mean, when people, let's face it, when people, really understand who they are, they become much harder to control. You cannot easily control them. Those people become, more confident. They become more focused, and they begin making, decisions based on their own values instead of somebody else's expectation. If you wait for somebody to define you, you will behave according to their definition of you. But if you define yourself, you will behave according to your own definition of yourself, something which is good. So that message is not about attacking anyone. It's about believing in yourself, believing in your history, right? Believing in your future, believing in what you need, believing in yourself as a human being, valuing yourself that you are a human being, you are capable of doing whatever everyone else can do. So number two is about building economic strength. Now that's like another major point in this video. Now this is like supporting one another economically within the community. So in this case, it's like supporting one another within the Black community. Now throughout the discussion, several speakers argue that money, talent, opportunities should circulate more within Black communities. But now here's like their argument. The argument is simple. When people invest in each other, like within the community, businesses grow. Okay, families become, strong. Communities become more independent. Now, every community around the world talks about building economic, strength within itself. So it is not surprising that many Black Americans are also having this same conversation, are also having this decision, to build themselves up without waiting for somebody to come and lift them. Because it's like for 400 years that the Black people have, experienced these things. Looks like it has never been given to them. So yeah, it's time to take what belongs to you in 2026. That's what these guys are trying to to argue. Now, number three is about learning from history. Yeah, history is the best teacher. We always say this, so it's time to learn from it. One thing that stood out to me was how often history came into the conversation. Almost everybody was pointing to history. Some speakers believe many of today's challenges cannot be understood without first understanding what happened to previous generations. When you learn from history, sometimes you avoid, mistakes to repeat themselves. So whether people will agree with every historical interpretation or they may not, but the point is that history still influences today's conversation, today's way of thinking, today's way of making decisions or choosing what to do or what to become. So if people understand where they came from, they may have a better idea of where they want to go. It begins from where you're coming from. If you don't know where you're coming from, it's hard to know where you're going. Okay, you may easily go back to where you are coming from. You may easily be into slavery again because you don't really know where you're coming from. But if you know where you're coming from, life was hard, you may do whatever it takes to make sure that, hard life doesn't come to you again. Number 4 is about education and some sense of, some sense of ownership. You see, one speaker shared a powerful story about a mother who worked hard, had excellent credit, but never realized that she could buy a better home. I think that story teaches us, a very important lesson. Sometimes knowledge can change families' future just as much as money can do. Sometimes all we need is just to have knowledge of the power we have in us, just to have knowledge of who we are, just to have the knowledge of what we are capable of doing. You see, when people learn, about home ownership, business, investing, financial planning, new doors will begin to open. Remember, knowledge is power. Some things only need you to realize who you are. So information creates some sort of opportunity. Opportunity creates freedom, and freedom brings, it brings bright future. Okay, future that you can easily define. Because those people who were into slavery back then, it doesn't mean that they could not think of, having freedom one day. Otherwise, they could just give up. But they were striving. They were fighting. That's why freedom finally came, that today black people cannot be in plantations again. So, yeah, that's good news. Now, the point number 5 is the last one. This one will be talked about almost in every video because it's what really matters. It's about unity. Now, this may be the biggest message in this entire video. And I could see that several speakers argue that unity has incredible power. Let's talk about it. Unity. And there are people who would want black people not to be united. There are people who do not want black people to come together. Why? They know that according to synergy, 1 + 1 is equal to 5. So, they believe that people accomplish more when they stop, competing with one another and begin cooperating with one another. Now, unity does not mean everyone thinks exactly the same. That's not necessarily what it means about unity. Even white people, it's not that they agree on everything. No, they don't agree on everything. But they'll do whatever it takes to move together. You may agree to disagree. You may disagree while walking on the same path, while still greeting each other. That's the main thing. While still building the same building. You are this side and somebody is on the other side. You are still building, but you are still having some, some misunderstanding, but you are still building that thing. So it is simply, means people recognize common goals and, work together toward those goals. Within black people, yes, people, even this boycott issue of Asian businesses, there are other black people who are saying, no, let's not do this. Okay, we cannot pay back what is evil. People are having so many arguments within black community. They are saying, no, not all. Let's not boycott all Asians because some are good, some don't. They are not racist. People are saying all those things. Yeah, people are saying all those things. So, what is my point? I know. Okay, I know people may do that, but unity we are talking about is simply recognizing the same goal and you try to work within that. Yes, you may have different views within the black community, but still, if you may have a dream to have black community prosperous, sometimes it will help that dream, as a community to be achieved. I mean, imagine what can happen when skills, when knowledge, when businesses, when creativity, talent, and all these resources move together in the same direction. I mean, just imagine like how people are suggesting if all this dollar that we have been giving these Asians by supporting their businesses, and that their businesses have prospered, their businesses have expanded, if we can use the same effort to help our own, imagine that can be, it can be explosion of economic, I can put it now. So that is like the vision that most of these speakers are like, trying to describe, that yeah, it's high time we build ourselves. And at the same time, every movement benefits from respectful dialogue, critical thinking, and willingness to work, peacefully toward positive change. And my biggest takeaway in this video, don't forget to also share your take in this video. What exactly are you learning? But my biggest takeaway is that every community wants, dignity. Okay, every community wants opportunity. Every community wants respect. And when people feel those things have been missing, eventually they reach a point where they say enough is enough. Enough of being disrespected, which is like the slogan of this boycott, Asian business boycott, or like wealth transfer or redirection of black dollar. It's like there is a slogan like enough of being disrespected. So yeah, whether this conversation becomes, a major turning point or simply another chapter in a much longer journey, only time will tell. But one thing is certain: these conversations are growing louder than before. More people are paying attention to, these discussions, and many people are believing that the next chapter will be written by people choosing to define themselves, not to be defined by the society, to be defined by, white people. Imagine, white people describing slavery, yet they are just the oppressors. They were from the oppressor side. So I think we can have a complete story, or a fair story. We need this story to be told by, these people who were like the slave, the people from this slavery side, those people who felt what exactly it means to be a slave. These ones can tell better. So yeah, I know, but let me know what you think in the comments below about this conversation. Otherwise, I love that you came to watch the video. I'm proud. See you next time, and please subscribe. Let's grow this community. See you next time.